Bring everyone back and close off music. All right, so welcome everyone. We're back for session 8, if my math is correct. Phaeton Shattered, and of course, as always, I have my lovely crew here. Spoopy, Tori, Riley, and Aaron, who are all lovely people and are going to indulge their true want to be space pirates today. They ended up choosing to go to the... Does anyone remember what I called the classes?
Pilot training.
Something. That's good enough for me.
Guild Association Pilot Training.
Hey, there we go.
Gapped. Yeah.
We're gonna
Yeah.
quickly resize Spoopy's camera so that y'all don't only see her shoulder.
How risque.
I know, right? We're throwing away our Puritan followers. They're just gonna not be able to hold on to themselves.
F's and chats for the Puritans.
But I guess that's how we're starting this episode. Anyways, so as always, you all know who I am, so we'll go around the table and allow our players to introduce themselves and their characters. Eventually, I'll get y'all more to say more than "Hi, I'm so and so, and I play so and so." Mostly staring directly at Riley. So, Spoopy, how about we start with you? Yep.
Spoopy. Hannah. Gunslinger. Engineer. Phaeton.
Oh my God, y'all are fantastic. Tori, how about you?
I play a pirate. Actually, I don't know. I'm Tori. I play Valindra, who's an elf ranger that shoots a bow.
Yeah, well, depending on your choices today, you might also shoot a cannon. Who knows? Aaron, let's hit you next.
Sure. Hi, I'm Aaron. I play Roga Emberbeard, dwarf badass, and the only one who can keep the party alive.
Yeah, in more ways than one. Riley, how about we go with you last? Saving best for
Hi.
last.
Hi, my name is Riley. I am playing Ember, a definitely human fighter who definitely attacks every door that she typically sees. And since Brandon wanted me to pad this out more, I'm going to tell you a little story. Once upon a time, I was born, and that has been a mistake ever since.
You know what? True vibes there. So as you can see, we have 4 totally functional adventurers here trying to save whatever they can, and definitely not a group of secret psychopaths I have stitched together for various shenanigans. So the last time we joined our team, they had earned themselves a fantastic little vacation, were indulging in their rewards, and heard some very interesting rumors that were kind of our story hooks for the next few sessions here. And so they decided to go and take the opportunity to become pilots for the Guild Association. And so we join our adventurers bright and early the next day, with the 4 of them showing up to their first day of ATMSB training, all bright-eyed and, a little hungover. Around the 4 of you, you recognize a good handful of your fellow guild members who have taken this opportunity to expand their skills, but also there's a surprising amount of citizens that have also taken this opportunity. The lecture hall you all are ushered into is dimly lit with light stones, easing the strain on your eyes. 3 columns of seats are arranged around the front of a stage with a single podium and a single AT-FPU, or Arcanotech Full Projection Unit. You all find your seats off to the side, but still close enough to the stage, and get ready. And after a little while, the air around you fills with the idle chatter of your fellows. What do you think they'll teach us here? Does this conscript us into the guild or the city guards if we're not guild associates? And the GA, they've never opened up training classes like this to the public. There seems to be curiosity permeating from the crowd around you. After a moment, the lights gradually dim a bit more, and a vaguely familiar face comes to stage. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to your first day of ATMSB training. Some of you may know me, but in this case, if you don't allow me to introduce myself. I am the Wayfarer of Phaeton Moo's Expedition Branch, and will be your general instructor for this course. Does anyone here remember who our Wayfarer is? Roga, I remember you making fun of him quite a bit. The note takers fiercely being like, "Oh shit."
I don't think I started taking notes till after this.
You are actually correct, which
Is it Almonto?
yes.
Almonto?
Tori, you are
Oh my
actually
God.
correct.
That's like the one
Incredible.
name I have written down.
Wayfarer Bellis Armanto, or Almonto.
Hey.
This was the halfling that you met a little while ago, who was the one to actually indoctrinate the four of you into the guild association. He was the one who did your mission review back in episode 1. Yeah, so he's the one who actually designed and built his own mobility aid and does a lot of that work for others in Phaeton Moo's guild association. So, as Almonto stands on the stage, he kind of greets all of you and goes, "I will be your general instructor for this course. We'll go over general information about ATMSBs as well as your typical crew roles for a team of 3 to 5 people. And for those of you here without a team, we'll do our best to provide you with one when the hands-on training begins. So there's going to be no need to worry. Now, before we begin, are there any questions about what you all will be doing here or learning?" Yes. And he points to Roga in the crowd.
Well, my question's not really about what we're doing here. It's more about what you're doing here. Didn't you see the sign out front that said you had to be this tall to ride?
He goes, "Well, the good thing about this mobility age is I can kind of hover a little bit, so might be a bit cheating, but you know what? We're cheeky and we're here anyways." He's definitely a halfling of very good humor. Not quite at gnome height, but definitely, a step above. And he sees Ember's hand. Yes.
This question isn't really a question, it's more of a comment, really. I've really come to appreciate corned beef as a sandwich.
Bellis just kind of turns and looks at you and goes, "All right, well, with that, during today's lecture, you are free to ask any questions, so please do not hesitate. We'd rather have you know what you're doing and be able to learn what you need to learn, rather than, a pilot taking their crew into the depths of space and not remembering how to brake their ship. Now, please turn your attention to the projector, and as he turns to the small dome set up on stage. After tracing a glyph in the air... Yes?
You mean slow down, not break apart.
Yeah. So he begins to trace a glyph in the air, and an image begins to pop up on the screen. And within a few seconds, you can actually see what looks to appear to be a small floating vessel in the air. For those of you who are looking at D20, this is actually very similar to what the projector shows. Notes, can you pop back up on screen? Did my notes really crash? Holy fucking shit.
Incredible.
My notes How did Office Libre crash? I don't know whether to be impressed or disappointed.
Little column A, little column B.
Yeah. That is the first time I've ever had that program crash.
That you know of.
I mean, yeah, but at the same time... You know what, Tori, we just call that true role playing. All right, let's see.
I'm a meta gamer. What can I say?
Mm-hmm.
That's like the same reason I don't take notes as a player, so that I don't need to take notes as a character.
When you role play so hard, you embrace your character's ADHD. I
Yeah,
get that.
basically.
I get that. Okay, so an image of a small vessel appears to be floating in the air. This is a standard ATMSB Outlaw 001-A. A smaller exploration and transportation ship with additional armaments built in. And this will be the model of ship you will all be learning on. Most controls and setups are going to be similar across the board until you get to larger classes of ships, such as frigates or carriers. The ATMSB Outlaw 001-A is a closed surface ship, meaning that the crew is entirely encased. There is no stasis field. This ship uses state-of-the-art technology to create an internal atmosphere complete with comparable gravity to Phaeton Islands, as well as breathable air. So you don't have to worry about, leaving a stasis dome and all of a sudden you all are trapped in the harsh coldness of space without the ability to survive. However, this also means that deck-to-deck combat is not a worry for pilots using the Outlaw 001-A. There's no place for boarding to happen. And give me 1 second, my cat is being a little gremlin and I need to let him out.
I heard that.
Y'all think that Phaeton Shattered is like a pun? Like Fate Unshattered? I've no
Maybe.
clue.
Oh, this cat is fantastic. When he's not a pain in my ass. So, before we move on, are there any questions about the little bit of information we've gone over? He kind of scans the...
How many escape pods are
thing.
there?
On a small ship like this, there is an escape boat, usually built to carry 3 to 5 people. It's a small, for lack of better visual aid, think of like a Saiyan pod from DBZ, but built for more than one person. It's just a little sphere y'all sit into, ejects, usually has a message beacon.
I am headcanoning that is his in-character explanation and that Dragon Ball Z exists in this universe now.
As long as we don't get sued by Toriyama or, the studio, sure, let's go with that. You just have kids watching anime on their ATSTs.
Yeah.
So, as the class goes on, Bellis explains more and more of ATMSB. Oh, what's up?
No, it's too late now.
No. I can pause. We can retcon.
No, it's fine. We'll come back.
But yeah, so as the class goes on, Bellis explains more and more of the ATMSB specifics, including internal structures, operations, basic repair procedures, and basic crew roles. After what feels like mere minutes to some and agonizing hours to others, a soft chime rings throughout the auditorium. Already? Well, it seems like our first lesson is at an end. I do hope that you all took notes, or at very least were paying attention. We'll pick up tomorrow where we left off and split you up into your preferred job roles for better hands-on training. Be sure to rest up and come prepared. And with that, you are all done on your first day of class. You have the rest of the day to yourselves. Is there anything specific you'd like to do?
Do we get snacks?
You are free to get snacks whenever you want, Tori.
Heck yeah.
But
It's a bit of a letdown. I thought we were gonna actually get to, get in a ship or something.
that'll actually be on day 3.
Oh.
Thank you, disembodied voice.
If you had looked at your syllabus... No, I'm joking. No. So
Wow.
I swear to God.
I am quitting this game.
the basic breakdown of this is going to be in-game day 1 is the general information of what it is and everything. So more of a you all can learn as little or as much as you want about ATMSBs, as well as your in-game, your characters kind of get the piloting 101 classes, or crew 101 classes, I guess would be more apt. Day 2 is when we're actually going to go over both the in-game and the above table rules for this, so that everyone kind of has the understanding. And then day 3 is actually, day 3, quote unquote, of course, is going to be actual piloting. So you guys get to see what the mechanics in-game are going to play like. And at the end of this, you'll be able to retcon what your characters are, in case you're like, well, I tried being an engineer, but I really don't like that. And, she tried to be a pilot and she really hated that, so we're going to swap.
So does that mean day 3 is the Kobe Murashu?
That's just going to be all today, isn't it? Just vague references and retconning this planet to have
I'm sorry.
Subsector of weebs.
I'm sorry. Vague references. Says you who made this entire campaign, each session themed around specific things and told us. I'm sorry, we're just following in your footsteps.
Look, I'm just glad that the example I set is being used to turn everyone into weebs.
You fucking better be.
But yeah, so it'll be a 3-day structure, of course. And then because y'all are still on vacation and still in the city, if there's any quick things you want to take care of after class, your characters have the opportunity to do that.
Group discussion time.
Yep, I think that would actually be a perfect time to do that.
Before we all split up here, are we really sit through 3 days of training kind of people?
I'm not
Up to
even
this
sit through
point-
1 day of training.
We've really been learn by doing kind of people, have we not?
So true.
Why do I feel like we're about to say we should go steal an MSB and learn fly it?
We don't even have to take off. Maybe we just go poke around,
That's
get a little,
exactly what you're recommending.
practice. Let's apply what we learned today in class.
But we haven't learned anything yet.
I agree with Rogue.
I really did.
I'm not familiar with the inner workings of a ship yet.
No better way to get familiar than to spend some, valuable time just poking around.
I mean, study years to figure out how this works.
Like, I'm not saying we go do anything dangerous, but we could at least go take a look, can't we? Maybe we get a chance to see which one we like best and we get first pick.
Here's the question, though. Does anyone actually know where the airfield is?
Would I know where the airfield is?
If
Like general engineering and artisan guild?
let me come up with a good skill check for this, because
What about perception?
I mean, perception would be like in your immediate area, right?
What about if there's signage?
Give me a. I'll give you all options on this. Either a society or a survival roll. See if you can navigate your way around the city.
23 for society.
For society, all right. And a 3 for Ember in survival. Valindra 25 for survival, and 12 for survival. So I feel like this is very much just like encapsulating what this group is. So I know that's exactly what I'm saying, is that Ember and Roga are just like, yeah, we should do this like fun shenanigans. And then I feel like Hana and Valindra are like, yeah, how are we gonna do it? And you two are just like, look, we're just ideal people. Like we just we're the thinkers, y'all are the doers. Like
The closer we are to danger, the farther we are from harm.
Do I know where the airfield
so
is?
I feel like, yeah, like again, Roga and Ember have just kind of like, Roga has a decent understanding of the city. She knows how to read the signs and kind of like meander her way around. Ember only knows how to do that when she's drunk, because there's no higher brain functions. You're vibing with the city, and you somehow always find what you're looking for.
Absolutely true.
And then Valindra and Hana are just like, yeah, no, we literally have maps on our ATSTs that just tell us where certain things are. And are just like, what if we just go and look at this big thing that says airstrip? So yes, Valindra and Hana are definitely able to kind of navigate their way to the airstrip. It takes y'all a little while to get there, obviously, because it's not close to the city. It's a little bit farther off from city center. So you meander your way there. And I would like everyone to go ahead and throw me a perception check.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
20?
And we got 2 dirty 20s, and we got a 27 and an 11.
Listen,
all right.
sobriety is a nerf.
For you, apparently, it really is. Holy shit. So yeah, y'all are kind of standing on the outskirts of it. It's late enough in the day that not a lot of ships are taking off or landing. So you do see a couple of the smaller class ships, none that quite look like the Outlaws that you were shown today. Ember, you know that you're at an airfield, and you know that there are ships there, and that's pretty much all you see. Roga and Hana, you two kind of realize very quickly that like this is a highly guarded area, right? Like this is your blood flow from island to island, as this is one of the major domes on the island and the capital of this island. So obviously there's a lot of city guard around. There's even some GA associates kind of working on ships in the inside. Valindra, you notice that people immediately are just staring at these four weirdos like outside the chain link fence, watching the ships just take on and off.
I think it's time to throw some clout around.
Well, can I like kind of slink off and disappear like out of view when I like back up and act like I'm walking away?
You know what? Give me
Plan.
a deception roll.
19.
So you're definitely kind of able to like slink away, and you feel like you've done a pretty good job acting like you're
So when I'm out of view, I'm gonna shift.
okay.
So that I'm immediately smaller.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a stealth roll.
Oh, shit. Ooh, 17.
Where are my dice? Actually, shit, where are my dice? I should be more prepared for this stuff. Can I just do this? GM roll. Alright, if I roll a GM dice, does everyone see that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, you definitely, you're good. You feel like you're absolutely 100% stealth. You have the confidence that like you are Shadow incarnate.
Okay, then I want to see again.
Okay, give me a survival roll.
That's 16.
You walk for a while, and you're trying to like look for holes in the chain link fence and everything, and you can't find any. This is a very well kept, secure location. Chain link fence is pretty well kept. There's no like bushes or holes or anything. And while you're walking around, go ahead and give me a perception check. Yep, my cat just flooped.
25.
You very much notice that as you're walking around, the air traffic control tower equivalent of what we would have here, there are glyphs on them that are glowing just a little bit.
Ooh, Arcana check to see if I recognize what those glyphs will do.
Yeah, go for it.
20.
Dirty 20, you immediately recognize these because you've seen them before. They're alarm trips.
Oh, no.
So-
Okay, I'm going to run back to them and then try to like twist around their legs and get them back up on the fucking fence.
What did the three of you do to the fox that's just kind of like rubbing up against you and trying to like trip you up?
Get out of here! Get out of here!
I kind of always wanted a pet.
You've seen this form, you know it's me.
Give me
Do I?
Give me a recall knowledge. Like let's yeah, everyone give me a history roll check.
I've done this so many times now.
Yeah, but at the same time, do your teammates have good knowledge? And apparently Roga does not have good short-term memory.
Would that be a lore roll or?
It should be. Again, I think I'm mixing up 5e and 2e. Yeah, so recall knowledge is a specific skill that you use with each of the ones. So you're like, I want to recall knowledge about society. Yeah, go ahead and give me a lore roll. I think lore would be the best.
Okay.
Your
Great.
personal lore.
That's the only lore thing I have.
You don't have a general lore skill? You should.
There is no general lore skill.
Oh, really?
Nope.
I wonder what most people use then in
In the
I have
lore section,
a
you
general
choose
lore.
A subset of lore.
Where?
That's engineering.
Under the lore section and skills.
Yeah, no,
It's
Valindra's.
Very bottom.
Yeah, if you have a subset, I think it
Oh, okay.
overwrites that. So,
Ignore me then. That's
no,
fine.
I'll count it as a lore skill just because again, otherwise I don't really know how to like measure if your characters remember things or not.
Wisdom.
Wouldn't it be intellect because you're recalling like specific things? Either way, we'll just roll with this one. No pun intended for now. Roga and Ember definitely seem to not remember any of this, even though you've done it multiple times. Valindra very much is just like, I've seen this fox before. I'm fairly certain that there's a coincidence of every time I see this fox, there is no Hana, and she's able to put two and two together.
Just like trying to push them back away from the fence.
So I think Ember, you're the only one who can succeed here.
Yeah, I think that's valid.
Okay,
Dude,
alright,
are
I'm
we-
just gonna fucking approve
You
it.
should act like you belong here and tell them that we're here to do some inspections.
On it.
I'm just gonna unshift. Do not go in there.
Oh,
There are
no.
alarm glitches
What's that?
all over this place.
What's the fox say?
Oh shit.
What does the fox say?
I'm gonna unshift in front of all of you and be like, do not go in there. There are alarm glyphs everywhere.
I'm not saying we break in.
Human in front of you from box.
Just a little poof of smoke, and there's a
Oh, shit,
Hana
Hana,
there.
did you see a fox nearby here?
That was me.
What was you?
The fox.
Who is you?
Oh, you did see it.
I was the fox.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to say anything untoward.
I am also. You ever heard of a kitsune?
Oh, that was?
You ever heard of a kitsune?
I mean, I've had a couple people kiss me, but, like, I didn't know it was, like, a thing.
Oof. So you're saying we should just go get drunk instead?
Yes. We should not steal a ship.
Man,
This place is covered in alarm glyphs. I just did a run scout and everywhere. It's covered. There's no breaks in the fence. There's nothing.
what if we disable the alarm glyphs?
How do you plan on doing that?
And without a second's hesitation, she just pulls out a dagger and hurls it as far as she can at the alarm glyph.
Does Ember know what an alarm glyph looks like?
No.
Roll me an Arcana check.
I'm just.
Ugh.
The hand is just like.
Can you roll me a D100, please?
Yeah,
No.
100%. Absolutely, I can.
Roll.
I got a 37.
So, Ember, you're like, I got this. I know exactly what it does. You just take the knife out and you chuck it at one of the control towers. And it does. It sticks in there. The problem is you basically just threw it at a logo, like one of the GA exploration logos. Hana, you immediately recognize that it's nowhere near the actual glyph.
I'm just gonna.
It's just kind of stuck in there.
To look at you. What?
Did it?
That's not a glyph. That's the GA logo.
I hit it like dead center.
That's the GA logo. That's not a glyph.
What's GA?
It's not a substance.
Oh, everybody keeps shortening words. Like, God, how much longer will it take to just say the thing? Like, some of us have places to be.
Simple answer. That wasn't a glyph.
Okay, where's the glyph? Takes out another deck.
If you throw something at the glyph, I'm pretty sure it's going to set it off.
No, it'll destroy the glyph before it gets set off. It's a magical thing, right?
Brennan will roll to see if like throwing something at it won't just set it off.
Yeah, if anyone wants to roll an Arcana check to see how incorrect or correct Ember is.
21.
I think my check speaks for itself. So
21 is Ember just gonna set it off.
Net 10.
Woo, net.
Oh,
Incredible work we're doing here.
So Valindra and Emperor are just, Valindra and Rogar are just like, yeah, that kind of makes sense. Like, I could see that working. Like, you can see the logical steps in Ember's like thought process. You're like, yeah, we disrupt the rune, and like it cancels. Like, it's like a circuit. You break the circuit, no more electricity. Hana's sitting over here who, actually has some understanding of how these things work, and it's just like, no. That's not how any of this works.
You have to dispel something like a glyph to get rid of it. That throwing something at it is how they set off.
Got it. You got to dispel it.
Set it off.
Hold on.
I just like looking at the three of them like, I don't know.
Hocus pocus, you've got no focus.
Oh, no.
All right.
It's like
Maybe we-
a dispel, right?
No, that's not what that is either.
This is the best thing ever. I just want you all to know that.
It seems like we have two options here. We either go home and just wait till we finish the class, or we send Ember in there to raise hell and we steal a ship, and then we get in a lot of trouble anyway.
Can we just go home?
But that means we have to sit through more classes.
Yes, but they just paid for everything. Gave us free vacation. I don't think now is a good time to steal a ship.
What a brown noser.
Yeah, like, this is the best time. We have... Okay. And then, like, Ember just goes over to Hana and just is like, okay, you don't understand. When you have positive reputation, right? That's a lot to borrow against, right? We've got a lot we can do with that. If we had been where we were a couple days ago, this would be a bad idea. We would get in trouble. But since we've got so much reputation banked, I'm just saying, we have a lot of ability to act here.
Yeah, but I think this will cap us out, though. This will cancel all of that out.
Yeah, but then we won't be in trouble, because if we didn't have it, then we'd be in definite
No,
trouble.
that we are in trouble.
We may lose all of our free money.
Oh, this sucks. And then Ember just turns and walks away.
Thank God.
Ah, God, I love this character development so fucking much. It's great. All right.
Well, worth a shot.
Yep. So, I'll just heading straight home, going to the bar, doing what? Who's a what's it?
Drinking.
Drinking. Tori Spoopy.
I'm just gonna go home and see how the guns are doing.
is there anything on the bounty board?
Yeah. Valindra goes to the bounty board, and they've literally stationed people there specifically to tell you to not go to the bounty board. Like, Bellis has watched you be like... He's just like wheeling around, takes his ATST out, looks at you, raises it to the ATST, notices that it says that you're on vacation, and like nods to the people outside, and they just shake their head towards you.
Oh,
What part of vacation don't you understand?
all of it.
Fair. All right. So, I need everyone to roll me a will save. Those of you who went to the bar to drink, give me a will save -1. And this will just be a flat save. No proficiencies or anything.
Just our will saving throw.
Just your will save in general.
So like the saving throw will one.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So that's a 12.
Oh.
16.
I'm not having great dice today, folks.
No, y'all aren't. And what did you get, dear?
16.
Okay. So we got a 15, a 13, a 30, and
12.
another. Oh, yeah, sorry. A 12, a 15, a 16, and a 30. All right. So Hana and Valindra, Valindra, you have a fantastic sleep. You get some of the best rest your elven body has ever gotten. Hana, you don't quite get the sleep that you wish you would have. And morning seems to come a little bit too soon, but like you got some decent sleep. No problem with that. However, Roga and Ember, so sleep takes you quickly in the night. And this is for both of you. So sleep takes you
Don't like
quickly.
that this is prepared.
Yep, I know, right? Sleep takes you quickly in the night and holds you tightly in its grasp. As you settle into bed, images quickly take you and you find yourself alone in the void of space. All around you, the specks of light cast from dying stars fills your vision. As you find your balance and orient yourself, you see below what you would call home, but in a state you don't recognize or remember it. It's Phaeton for sure, but whole and completely undamaged. The oceans are full of water, the skies are dotted with clouds, and continents the skies are dotted with clouds, continents are whole, and sprawled across the face of the globe. As you watch, taking in the views, a shockwave passes through you, knocking you off your balance, and in that instance a cracking sound runs through your whole body. Purple ethereal chains begin to wrap around the planet you know as home, constricting it and causing fissures to form in its surface. You swear for a second you can hear the very planet itself scream for help. You reach your hand out as if to try to help, trying to grasp the chains and tear them off. Panic, fear, sadness, and helplessness, these fill your mind as you tear, breaking the chains only to watch them replaced by another. As your hands ache and your muscles scream, you hear a voice in your head. You cannot change this, no matter how hard you try. The words finish and the chains squeeze and the world shatters. The islands fly past you, the chains embedded in them, anchoring them to the planet's core. The voice returns. However, you have a choice. Light flares from the core, and you shield your eyes, closing them tightly. And when they open, it is not Phaeton that greets you, but the morning light. So, class starts much like yesterday. A single podium in the AT FPU at the center. The lights are dim, and as the Wayfarer rolls out, he turns to you all and goes, "Welcome, everyone, and glad to see most of you are back and ready for this fine morning. Today we're going to finish covering the basics of the operation and then send you off to your individual training. But before we begin, does anyone have some questions from yesterday?" Bellis kind of scans the crowd, sees that everyone's just kind of there, and he goes, "All right, fantastic. Now, basic operation of the AT MSB is as follows." And this is where we're going to kind of step above board and teach y'all how to do the mechanics of the Phaeton Flight School. Yes, Luca, they are starting to learn. So, initiative is going to be rolled as a group rather than the individual. So with your ship using the highest score as its own initiative. So the four of you will roll. Whoever gets the highest, that gets assigned to your actual ship as its initiative. And then it'll be ship to ship in the turn order. So, Luca. 1 second. My cat's on my computer. He's being a little gremlin. Get down. Thank you. Respect technology. So, when your ship turns arrives, each crew member will take their turns deciding amongst yourself. And you're going to use your 3 AP to complete your actions in a row. This means that what you do depends on your chosen job, but it can also be from the general actions list. And because you're all new, no matter what job you choose, you're going to start at level 0. You'll have all the available level 0 actions for that assigned job. You must spend all desired available action points in one sitting, meaning you cannot take an action, have a crewmate take another action, and then finish your turn. Make sense? Okay.
What skill are we rolling?
Oh.
Go ahead.
Spoopy, then Riley.
So do we each get 3, or is it 3 across the board?
So each of you will get If you think about it, ship goes, the 4 of you will take your turns. Next ship goes, that crew will take their turns.
Right, so do we each have 3 action points?
Yes,
or
you
do
each
we
have 3 action points.
individually?
Yeah,
Okay.
so much like basic combat, this is one of the major changes that I made to my original draft. Much like basic combat, so that it flows between 2, you will have the 3 AP system that Pathfinder 2nd Edition has innately. This is because when I was trying to balance boarding combat, it made no sense for you to be like, on ground I can take 3 actions, but when I'm boarded on another ship I can only take 1. So just like in normal combat, you're all 3 AP to spend. You have to spend all of it before another person can take an action, otherwise you lose any AP that are remaining. Make sense? And then Riley, you had something?
What are we rolling?
So that'll be dependent on your job. It'll basically be a
Okay.
D20 plus your job's proficiency in some cases.
Okay.
And then again, once you start doing boarding combat, that'll be whatever your normal combat would be. So if you're a fighter, it's going to be your strength attack rolls.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay, so you must spend all desired available action points in one sitting, meaning you cannot take an action, yada, yada, yada. This means that communication among yourselves is going to be of dire importance, as strategy is going to be the most important thing for you. A man with a plan is a fool, but a man with backups will never struggle to know what to do. What your ship can do will be included in its vehicle sheet, but for the test, you'll all be using the same model of ship, the ATMSB Outlaw 001-A, and its specs are as follows. So, I've already filled in some of the information for you. HP for this class of ship is going to be a maximum of 80. Your shield is going to be 25. Your ship's speed is 50 feet, so 10 spaces. And this is measured from front to front or back to back. Either choice is yours, or actually whoever is pilot. So basically the start of your ship can travel 10 spaces, or the back of your ship can travel 10 spaces.
Sorry, can you say all of that so I can write it down?
Yes, I also will be posting these stats into chat later. But so your ship's total HP is 80, your shield is 25, and your speed is 50. And your shield acts much as like a shield in combat does.
It's an AC 25.
No. AC is, so your shield is another health bar, right? So if you have your shield up in a direction, like let's say it's at the bow of your ship, the bow of your ship takes a hit, it'll subtract from the shield before it subtracts from the health.
So if we like raise the shield, drop it, and then raise it again, is that 25 consistent across like the combat, or is that re-up every time you renew?
It's consistent across the entire combat, but both, actually no, I think just engineer. Just engineer will have abilities to refresh it or to augment it, such as like doubling your capacity for something, or being able to grant you temporary bonus shield.
Which is something I just don't have right now. Right?
Yeah, I don't have those rules written up, mostly because I'm trying to figure out good names for them. That is my current struggle. All right, so this is going to be the super important part that people need to remember. So the AC for your port and starboard, which are the sides of your ship, is 18. The AC for your bow and your aft is 14. So this ship is actually a 2x4. I need to...
What was the bow and aft?
So bow and aft is 14. So the squares that the ship takes up on the grid are how large the ship is. So this is a 2x4. So you have 2 squares that your bow and aft cover that can be hit, but you have 4 squares that your port and starboard can be hit. So obviously thinking strategically, you want to be able to attack the back of an enemy. It's going to be easier, but there might be times where, you know, those are covered, and so you have to take the larger shot. So the weapons for this class of ship are as follows. The front guns, which are the guns that the pilots use, are light caliber autocannons. You have 6 out of 6 shots. If you hit, you do 2d4 points worth of damage. Your starboard guns are your medium caliber autocannon. There are 4 out of 4 shots before they need to be reloaded, and those do 2d6 points of damage. Your port guns are also medium caliber autocannons, and they have the same stats. 4 shots in the magazine, damage of 2d6. Now, this is one of the important things that I have added. You have a reserve ammo box. It is of size 1 out of 1, meaning that anyone who is not an engineer and has the restock ability can use that reserve ammo box to refill any of the guns on their turn. I think I forgot to add that to the general.
Why did you say everybody who is an engineer? Because you give me a stock up skill to reload stuff.
Yes. So stock up can reload not only the guns, but the reserve ammo box. Reload from the gunner's action. Oh, that's right. Only gunners can reload the guns. So reload from the gunner's action takes from the reserve ammo box only to refill whatever gun they're currently using. Swapping between...
The engineer cannot reload.
No, the engineer is the only one who can reload the reserve ammo box.
Okay.
Sorry, if I misspoke.
Everybody but the engineer can reload.
Yeah, no, sorry. That is misspeaking on my part. So the only person who can reload the guns, the job that can reload the guns only is the gunner. It's reload 2 AP. You reload whatever gun or artillery you're currently using to full capacity, and that empties the reserve ammo stash. The engineer can reload any guns or the reserve ammo box or ammo stash. Does that make sense? And you also, engineers do it at 1 AP, whereas gunners have to use 2 AP to do it.
So is the front guns, the port guns, and what else?
So the front guns are the bow guns, and then you have the starboard and port guns. They're both medium caliber autocannons. They hit for 2d6, but they can only fire 4 times before they need to be reloaded. So they have four shots in the magazine. And I will go over here, and I will screw up the just for a moment. Paste, enter. So those are the stats for the guns.
Oh no, things to read.
So all good. So as we've said before, these ships are not meant for heavy combat and instead are mostly used for transportation and exploration, but still do have some teeth to bite back with. Any questions? Bells kind of looks around the hall. Fantastic. Now, let's get you all sent off to your individual training. Everyone who has signed up to be a pilot, you'll be staying here with me. Engineers, you'll be learning from our Forge Master Byron himself. And Bellis kind of gestures to the side of the stage, and both Byron and Milia walk up. Gunners, you'll be learning from Miss Milia herself, and unfortunately the Matriarch Ame is busy, but for those of you who want to learn to be an ATMSB captain, will be placed in very capable hands. Torvid, and from the other side of the stage, one Torvid Dundee, the captain of the city guard, walks up. It is a pleasure to be able to represent the city guard, as well as teach some aspiring crews. The Wayfarer smiles, and thank you for your... oh my god. The Wayfarer smiles. Thank you for making time. Now, students, please follow your respective teachers and reconvene here tomorrow for your test. So, Hana has obviously decided that she wishes to be an engineer. Now is the time to decide, the three of you. What job do you want? Ships only require that there is one pilot. There can be as many of the other classes as the crew wants. So if you wanted to be 3 captains, you could. I wouldn't suggest it, but you could.
We do need at least one pilot, though.
Yes, you have to have someone who knows how to drive the ATMSB. So.
Volunteers for pilot?
I will take whatever is needed.
Oh my god, we literally have 3 bisexuals in here. Y'all are just not deciding. As much as I vibe with queer stereotypes, sometimes I'm just like, what is wrong with all of us? Like,
well, if no one else will take charge, I'm the captain now.
all right. So.
Okay, I guess I'll be the pilot then.
All right.
Is
You
Ember?
think you can handle the guns?
This is stereotyping.
Ember's gonna be the Rudy Tooty point and shooty.
I suppose so.
All right, so we're gonna walk through the basic actions of everyone to kind of understand what it is. Pilots, of course, there's a little more that goes into being a pilot because of the specifics of how to move the vehicle. So the basic functions of this do match the Pathfinder 2nd Edition vehicle rule set. But I have sprinkled a layer of creativity on top to allow people to do more than just move a vehicle and ram someone over with a vehicle, because that's pretty much all vehicle combat is in Pathfinder 2nd Edition, is move the boat and run the boat over. So, as I said before, cruise roll initiative, the highest initiative is going to be for your ATMSB itself. Crew members each get 3 AP, must do all actions, blah, blah, blah. We've already gone over that. So, basic actions for each crew member is fire, 1 AP. The crew member is able to attack using any of the auxiliary weapons of the ship. These are your port, starboard, and aft guns. There is no proficiency to add to this attack, though, if it is a non-gunner using this action. Board for 1 AP, if the ATMSB is an open-top vehicle, and the opposing ATMSB is also an open-top vehicle, and both ships are next to each other, a crew member can make an athletics or acrobatics check in order to board the opposing vehicle. While on board, the crew member fights as if it was normal combat, so all of your normal rolls will take into place, and it'd just be like normal ground-based combat. What are you giggling at, Tori?
Nothing. Nothing. Don't worry about it.
So, pilots.
It's not ominous.
Not ominous at all. Tori's just gonna fucking like Sea of Thieves ram the space boat and other space boats. So we'll start with pilots. So everyone kind of disperses to their everyone disperses and follows out their instructor. Of course, the pilots stay here with Bellis. And as the amphitheater kind of empties out, the rest of you are still there. The pilots are all kind of just looking at each other. And Bellis takes the stage and goes, all right, so we're going to go over the basic functions of what a pilot does. All ATMSB's crews do need a pilot. In a way, you are the most important because everyone's life is in your hands. So pilots are in charge of steering, docking, and survival of the ATMSB and its crew. Though their abilities are basic on the surface, every crew requires a pilot in order to function and survive. And if you become a pilot, you will gain proficiency in survival if you do not have it. And this is for the base level proficiency. So I think it's like a +2 to your proficiency rolls.
Yeah, you're like trained.
What was that?
Did they make you trained in survival? Is that what it is?
Yes. So you'll become trained in survival, but it's a very basic level of training. So pilots, your level 0 actions are as follows. Move, very simple, 1 AP. You move the ship the allotted mount. Every ship's length, the pilot can rotate 45 degrees. So, because the ship is 4 squares, that means it's 20 feet. So if the whether you're measuring from front to front or back to back, if you move 20 feet, you can rotate 45 degrees. You can only travel in a straight line. So you have to actually plot out the course. Punch it for 2 AP. The pilot moves the ship double its move rating, so instead of being able to move 50 for this ship, you'll be able to move 100. But you can turn every 2 ship lengths by making a piloting check with disadvantage of -5. So that'll be your piloting training proficiency plus whatever plus a flat D20. At level 0, you're trained, so it'll be a +2. You cannot use certain skills during the same turn as using Punch It, and those abilities will explain themselves. Full speed ahead is going to be a 3 AP use ability. You move triple the ship's move range, but you cannot rotate the ship at all. and you only have to make one check, which is going to be at disadvantage of 5, and that's to keep the ship in control. If you fail that check, you will have an uncontrolled ship, which means that all of your subsequent actions until you regain control are going to be at disadvantage. You can rotate for 1 AP, which is you're able to rotate the ship up to 90 degrees as long as you have not used punch it or full speed ahead in that turn, and the ship is in your control. And then the last level 0 action you get is fire. You're able to make an attack using the auxiliary the auxiliary guns mounted to the front of the ships. These can only fire in a straight line, and you use your piloting skill proficiency for this attack roll. So level 0, you have a trained proficiency, which will give you a bonus 2 to the roll. That'll be your attack roll against the opposing ship's AC for whatever side of them you're hitting. Pilot guns are the only guns that cannot fire in a 90-degree arc. They can only fire straight ahead, so you have to measure from one of the 2 squares on the front of this ship. Has to be able to measure in a straight line to hit your target. Currently, I have 1 level 1 action just for kind of a teaser of what pilots can do eventually. So at level 1, pilots gain defensive maneuvers for 2 AP. The pilot is able to take a defensive mindset when piloting the ship and adding the bonus to the ship's AC equal to their piloting skill. You have to be in control of the ship for this. So it's a 2 AP buff for the rest of the turn. Or sorry, it's a 2 AP buff, but it's added for the rest of the combat until you swap into one of the other piloting styles that will eventually be there. And there will be 2 other ones. So pilots kind of get a stance mechanic as they go on, and then as you level, you're going to be able to pick one of the skills in the skill tree tiers. Some of them are going to be active skills, some of them are going to be passive skills. And I do have an example of what that looks like later, and so we'll get to that. So Tori, do you have any questions about what it means to be a pilot?
Nope.
Cool. Next, Bellis kind of continues talking. You end up taking notes, and you find that time passes pretty quickly. And with that, we will hop over to Ember. So, Ember, you follow Milia out of the courtyard, and as she's kind of talking to you in the group a little bit, making chit chat, you realize very quickly that she's actually walking you all to the firing range. So you enter the firing range, and you realize very quickly that each of the stalls is actually mounted with a gun from one of the ATMSBs. So it's been completely reserved for all of you, so you actually would get hands-on practice using the in this case the medium caliber autocannon. She kind of lines you up and goes, all right, so as gunners of the ships, you are the offensive arm of a ship's crew. You'll be able to master the ship's artillery and become you'll be able to master the ship's artillery and become a master of destruction. Gunners, we are a master of our crafts. So by taking the gunner job, it does give you basic training and proficiency in firearms. So Ember, after this class, you would know the very basics of being able to use a firearm. You'd be able to add that proficiency and actually use one and get the bonus of your dexterity rolls to it. So just like training in any other weapon.
So proficiency firearms with dex as the skill.
Yeah, because it's making a ranged attack.
Yep.
So for your level 0 actions, and again, these are all in Discord already, and then as we kind of move ahead, I will eventually post these to whatever site we kind of choose to have this podcast on, probably Patreon, I don't know. So your level 0 actions are as follows. You have a fire ability, which is the same as the general action, but it overrides it. So the gunner is able to attack using any gun or artillery mounted on the ship, and these guns can fire in a 90-degree arc from stern, port, or starboard. So again, the only ones that you can't fire are the pilot ones, and that's just because you're not in the pilot seat. These attacks use the gunner's proficiency in the attack roll. And again, that 90-degree arc would be... Is there the measurement that I want? I don't think there is. So you'll measure from, if you're attacking on the port side, you'll measure from the center of the ship out in a 90-degree arc. Anything that goes in that 90-degree arc, you can hit. Range of the guns, by the way, I forgot to post that. Range of the guns is 100 to 200. Excuse me. 100 to 200, meaning that any attack within 100, you do not suffer any disadvantages. Any attack into 200, you just suffer minor disadvantage. Anything after that, you suffer major disadvantage. So your next ability is a fire for effect for 2 AP. The gunner lets loose of a salvo. You empty the magazine of the gun or artillery, and targeting up to the number of attacks made, any target in the firing arc. These attacks do not benefit from the gunner's proficiencies when making the attack rolls, though. This means that if you are firing from a full medium caliber autocannon magazine, you can target up to 4 things, or you can hit 1 thing 4 times, or any in between, as long as they are in that firing arc. Breathe for 1 AP. The gunner takes a second to breathe and refocus on the target in front of them. The next attack made will not suffer the penalty for making multiple attacks this round. So just like normal combat, if you make subsequent attacks or subsequent actions that make attack rolls, you suffer that -5, -10. Breathe is a 1 AP action that you can take to lessen that, much like the fighter's, I don't remember your feat name or your ability name, where you just you do the same thing.
Yeah.
And then for your last level 0 actions, you have reload for 2 AP. The gunner reloads whatever gun or artillery they are currently using to full capacity, and this empties the ammo stash. So as long as there is 1 in the reserve ammo stash box, you can reload your gun for 2 AP and then make another attack or do whatever you want. So after a few hours of familiarizing yourself with the medium caliber autocannons, you definitely feel a lot better. You kind of understand like walking the gun to your target, sighting up and everything, and you get some hands-on practice with actually reloading the gun. So next we jump over to Roga. So Roga, you exit and you're following Torvid. Torvid definitely seems like he's not used to doing this type of thing, so he's very much like a little bit stiff and tight back and just kind of like marching almost. He leads you to another classroom. It's smaller. You see that definitely this group is a lot smaller than the other ones, so it's a little bit more hands-on. And as Torvid turns, again, just kind of in that very like super professional, doesn't know how to turn it off, he smiles at all of you with his big lizard man smile. He goes, as you all know, I am Torvid Dundee, captain of the guard, and I have the pleasure of being able to teach you all what it means to be a proper captain. So captains are the eyes, ears, and heart of the crew. Their abilities enhance that of their allies while not affecting the ship itself, and captains gain proficiency in diplomacy when taking the first level of this job. So you'll get training in diplomacy if you don't have it. And you have 4 level 0 skills. So your first one is focus for 1 AP. The captain is able to rally their team, giving an advantage to their skill checks in the following turn. And this is any skill checks that they make for the ship. Radar for 1 AP. So you can't strategize if you don't know what you're fighting. The captain is able to activate the ship's radar and scan for enemies. So you roll a d20 and add your proficiency. For a field with no hazards or conditions, the dice checks are as follows. For 10 or above, your radar is able to pick up enemies within 25 feet. For 15 and above, your radar picks up enemies within 50 feet. For 20 and above, your radar picks enemies up within 75 feet. And for 25 and above, your radar picks up enemies within 100 feet. Pilots or gunners, if a enemy is within your firing arc, you can see them. The radar will show ships or reveal ships for that turn to everyone on the ship. So you don't have to be directly looking at them. So for 2 AP, pilots or captains get plot course. Captains know how to navigate the area around them and are able to lend that ability to their pilot. So the captain is able to add their proficiency level or nature proficiency level to the pilot's next skill check for the movement skills. And then tactics is your last one. Being able to analyze the battlefield is important, and knowing what to do and when is the captain's bread and butter. So for 2 AP, you can add your proficiency bonus to any gun attacks made this turn, regardless of who is making the attack. And the bonus lasts 1 full round. So if you use it at the beginning, subsequently, the next 3 people will get that bonus. An example of captain's level 1 actions, you are able to mark targets. So captains are able to identify priority targets and designate what needs to be brought down first. The captain can mark 1 target per round as a priority, which grants all attacks made by the crew against that target a +1 to attack rolls. Only 1 target can be marked at a time, and the mark lasts the entire combat. And so you can move that mark from target to target, much like a ranger's hunter's mark.
Sure.
So after some agonizingly strict and very bereft of personality teaching from Torvid, you kind of see that his nervousness does begin to slide away and he gets a little bit more comfortable in what he's doing, but you're able to take some good notes. And last but not least, we'll hop over to the engineers. So all the engineers get up and they follow Byron out of the auditorium, and much like the exact opposite of Torvid, he's, as you guys are leaving, he's cracking jokes, he's very animated and everything. He's showing off of his Arcanotech arm that he has, and he actually leads you up to the Master Forge. So it's where all the like crafting and everything happens in the guild hall. As the doors close behind you, Byron turns around and greets you all with a very large smile. He goes, "I get to be the one to teach you why engineers are the best and will always be the best. So the engineers, we are the ones that keep the ship running. We make sure everyone makes it home alive, and at the end of the day, we're the ones who are making the ship run. And at the end of the day, we're the ones who make sure that this ship lands in one piece. So taking this job does grant the engineer proficiency in engineering at a basic level. So unfortunately for you, you don't get the benefits of that, because I'm pretty sure you...
'cause I
I have engineering lore, so I don't get any lore bonuses.
Yeah. So your level 0 actions are as follows, and you have some of the more complicated actions, and we'll get into that. So your first one is raise shields. So for 1 AP, the engineer activates the ATMSB shields, granting it a bonus to AC and temp health.
Which I have a question. What's the AC bonus?
So the Outlaw 001-A does not have an AC bonus for the shields. It is a light cruiser. It is a light skipper class, which means that its shield is only for the temp health. There are other shields that you'll be able to upgrade your ship to, or get new ships that have those built in. The shields activate in a 90-degree arc in either the port, starboard, bow, or aft/stern of the ship. Attacks cannot be made from a weapon that is in the direction. Oh my god, we got our first bot. Oh, I can't mod directly through OBS. That's lame. Oh well. Bots are bots. So attacks cannot be made from a weapon that is in the direction of the shields that are when they're raised, and raised shields last for 1 round plus your engineering level. So an engineer raises the shield to protect the bow of the ship. The pilot is unable to fire the front guns through the shield, and the engineer is level 1. The engineer is level 1, so the shields last for 2 rounds. So at the very beginning of this, yours are only going to last 1 full round. And the shield can only be active on 1 section at a time. So you can't like raise the shield in 2 sections and have 180 degrees of your ship protected. Yep. So you gotta make good strategic choices here. So stock up. For 1 AP, the engineer can reload any of the guns or ammo stashes on the ship, and at higher levels, this can also be used with special ammunition. Special ammunition is going to be something that you can buy, equip, or craft, and it's kind of like arrows in a quiver or ammunition and guns. It'll augment the damage type and everything that it deals, and that is a thing that you'll unlock probably next season, unless y'all go ham on this stuff.
Okay, because I did have that question, because I already can craft special ammo for my guns, but this is a totally different thing, right?
Yes and no. So because you're taking the engineer class and you already have these things, you'll actually be able to make dice checks for crafting special ammunition for your ship.
I can do that now then?
Once this class finishes, yes. You, you can't like be like, oh, I already know how to do this shit, and then like make your crew special ammunition to get a little bit of an edge in the tests.
Oh, I can't?
No, you cannot.
Excellent.
Because I immediately, when you were like, I'm gonna be the engineer, I was like, all right, no, we're not doing this. Y'all will not have an edge in this. It'll be team-based tactics versus imaginary teams and their tactics. So
I'm saying it's not my fault they don't have actual engineers for their engineers.
Just being sassy today. I love it. Anyways, so tune up for 2 AP. You can use the using their specialty in ATMSBs. The engineer is able to add a 1-use buff to the next movement or gun attack made by any crew member. If this action is a movement action, the ship's moves an extra 10 feet. If this is a gun attack action, you can add a +1 roll or +1 to the attack roll. And this does stack with the captains. So it's not like guidance where guidance only has one thing, or like you can't stack guidances from multiple characters. This does stack between multiple characters.
What's the gun buff if the movement is an extra 10 feet?
Sorry, what was that?
What's
What's the buff for guns? Because it just says, like, the buff for movement is just 10 feet. So what is the buff for gun?
Buff for gun is a +1 to the attack. And that applies for both pilot, engineer, or sorry, that applies to pilot, engineers, or anyone basically anyone who uses a gun in the next, before the round ends. So it can be used for your pilot, or it can be used for anyone making a gun attack. The difference being that this buffs the ship, the captain buffs the person. So that's why they can stack.
That was my other question, was is this specific to a gun or a person?
Yeah, no. Tune-up is going to be specific to the ship, and then, well, I guess I can actually just say this now. The engineer buffs the ship, which is why the engineer's buffs can be used by multiple, or by anyone on the ship. The captain buffs the crew member directly. Does that kind of make sense? Okay. The last level 0 action of the engineer is divert power. So for 2 AP, the engineer tinkers with the internals of a ship and diverts powers to the engines or guns of the ship. If power is diverted to the engines, movement for the next turn is doubled. However, each movement will require a check by the pilot to keep control of the ship. And this check will be at a -5, and the following turn movement is halved. So it's good for getting somewhere very, very quick. But it also has the drawback of it's harder to pilot the ship because of this, and your ship kind of needs a turn to recover from being pushed so hard. If power is diverted to the guns, AP usage for the gun is doubled, and the number of damage die is doubled. So for Ember, for example, if you divert powers to the gun, whatever gun she is on, if it's one of the medium caliber autocannons, the next hit you make, or not the next hit, all the attacks that you make in that round will have double damage die. So it'll be 4d6 instead of 2d6. AP usage for the gun is doubled, number of damage die is doubled. This next attack will drain all the ammo in the gun and make it unusable until the next round. So the example I have is the engineer diverts the power to the guns. The gunner fires a broadside cannon for 2d12 instead of 1d12, and consumes the last 3 shots of the cannon's magazine. And then kind of to tease what the skill trees can do, one of the level 1 skill tree options for engineers rotate ion shields. While ray shields is active, you can spend 1 AP to change the location of the shield. That does not refresh how long the shield is up. So if you're a level 4 engineer, you raise shields, They're raised for 5. Next turn, you rotate ion shields. It'll be active for 4 turns, but it'll stay where it is.
So question about divert power, because when it says the AP usage is also doubled, as well as the damage die, what does that mean? AP usage is doubled.
So let's say that you divert power to the guns and end your turn, right? And you all are level 0. Ember can take her next turn, and now when she uses fire, it'll be for 2 AP. If she uses fire for effect, it'll be for 4 AP. The thing with this, though, is that eventually there will be skills in the skill tree that Ember can take to make fire for effect 1 AP. So right now, if you double, like if you were to divert power to guns, she'd be able to use the fire ability twice. Yes, because it would do 2 and then 1. You would have to use different guns, of course, but you can then attack for 66 and only suffer the penalty for making 1 attack instead of making 3 attacks for 66. That kind of makes sense?
So I can basically give them 2 shots for 1.
Yeah. And you do not need to have the magazine full to use that. So whether it takes 4 shots from the medium caliber AC, 3, 2, or 1, it'll take all of the remaining rounds in the magazine, but it'll do the same amount of damage. So it's kind of better to have gunners, or to use that when the magazine is lower, so you're not punishing the gunner as much. The other thing is too, there are going to be skills later to buff divert power for guns. This will be a level, if I remember correctly, I have it set to be a level 2. You'll be able to give the gunner or the pilot a choice of when to use that diverted power. So right now, it's the first attack you make. Later on, you could choose to have it be the last attack that you make in that round to use the diverted power. So it'll eventually be a consumable buff of your choice when to use it. At the very beginning, though, it's a first come, first serve consumable buff. Does that make sense? Okay. So that's a lot of information to take in, and we've also been streaming for a little over an hour. So I'm going to say let's all take a break, kind of let the information process, and when we get back, we'll get ready for day 3. So we'll take a break here. We will reconvene at 11:35 PST or 2:35 EST, or whatever your time zone is. It's going to be that hour and then 35. So while we are gone, I will throw up the BRB screen, and I'm going to put on some tunes, and we'll be back in just a moment. Take this opportunity to stand up, stretch, follow us on Twitter, and get some snacks and all that good stuff. Oh, and YouTube, because we post these videos to YouTube. I remember.
Tubs.